Hello everyone, this is VJ32 back again with another review. This is not going to be pretty. This could be a lot better in my opinion. It is the Bicycle Dark Templar from a Kickstarter project, the first one put out by Cardissons, who had previously designed a couple of, at least one, maybe two decks for Elite playing cards. Can't recall if it was the Platinum, if it was something else. I don't remember which ones exactly. Front of the box says Bicycle on top in a dark color. Almost makes it hard to see. The bottom is really hard to see. It says Dark Templar and playing cards. I really wish people, when they created a deck of cards, they would look at it and they would go, that's going to be really hard to read. Maybe we should change that. Because then in the end result you get something like this where you can't read the bloody thing. There is a spade pip on there and there's lots of details. This side for some reason looks like it's missing details or something. I don't know. On one side it says again Dark Templar. Playing cards supposed to be based on the Templar Knights, I guess. And you got some logos. And then you got this white and yellow coloring on there. I don't know what the hell that is. Mistake or something, because it does not match with the front. Again, not a very good job there. And the other side, again, Dark Templar playing cards, but you can barely read that. Top, I have no idea because they stuck a seal on it. And at the bottom, there is a barcode. And it does not say anything, there's no reveal, just 555-888-777. What kind of a barcode number is that? I just noticed that myself. And then there's your copyright stuff. The back, you get the back design. Elite playing card style with a little back design. And there's a little spade pip on here. That says 2013. And then down here you got the Cardissons logo, which is also a spade pip. And it says Spellbound Tested Cards, which is, or sorry, Spellbound Sealed Cards, which is pretty interesting, although, again, a little difficult to read, especially since you're using a weird font. And then the seal, again, too much detail. It's hard to see what the hell is going on in there. But it does have a spade pip on there. It's kind of interesting. The flap, Bicycle trademark stuff, and again, a little logo, and then more spade pips on the flaps. Inside, first of all, you do get two cards, and here's your back design, by the way. I'll show you that very quickly. Is it me, or is there way too much going on in there? There's multiple colors, a huge amount of details, there's stuff in the borders. It is a one-way design, by the way, and it just looks like there's way too much going on. I mean, it's not bad, but it just looks like a little bit too much. In my opinion, sometimes less is more, and if they had a little bit less, it would look a lot better. So anyways, you do get these two cards that they're basically ad cards. To me, this is kind of a copy of what Usi does with their decks, and that is they took two cards and you stick them together and it forms a little picture. It says Dark Templar on there. Again, it's really hard to read Templar. You can see Dark, but Templar underneath it. Can you read it? I can't read it. And you got a couple of dark figures, a spade pip, some coin type things, seals, whatever. Pretty interesting. And just bear with me a minute. Alright, I just organizing the cards. To say the least, I'm not a huge fan of this deck of cards. Just way too much going on, too much details, just not very good in my opinion. That's why I actually ended up canceling it, but then for some reason they sent the cards to me anyway, so I figured I'd keep one and review it. And then I did end up ordering one on their more recent project, the Bicycle Steel deck, which is a little bit better in my opinion, but I ended up getting these anyway. So the Jokers, they are identical, except for the colors a little bit different. It says Joker on the top and bottom, some kind of weird symbol in the two corners, and it's just a dark, blurry figure. And the other one is identical, except that the color is a little bit different. And again, way too much going on. These cards had so much going on that instead of making it a recursive finish, they were recommended by USB-C to do a smooth finish, which it is, and it feels cheap because of that, in my opinion. The Ace of Spades, again, it's hard to make out what the hell that is. It's a spade pip, but I'm not a huge fan of it. It says Dark Templar, and then plain cards at the very bottom, hard to read. They got an A in one corner for the index. There is a spade pip, a bit of a spade pip around it, but it's hard to make out. And then they got a spade pip in the other corner, which also is not really easy to see. Ace of Hearts, a little bit better. The red pips I like a little bit better. They're easier to identify. Clubs, especially on this background. And diamonds. Court cards, scary. Again, more bizarre, blurry figures. What's the point of putting so much detail and art in it when it ends up kind of blurry and hard to make it out? And if there was a mirror image design, it might be a little bit better, but it's a one-way design. And then again, putting the index, separating the indexes, not a good idea. Especially even though they put a heart or a pip, actually that's a diamond. They did put, a pip around the number. It's hard to make it out. They added red, so you know it's a red pip. They got the pip on the other corner, but still not that great. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Some of the art is alright, but the execution is just not great. The J's for the Jacks, hard to identify. They don't look like a J. Q's a little bit better, but still not great. K's are the best ones. That's kind of scary looking. For the pips, the number cards, again, more of the same ridiculous indexes. The pips, again, hard to identify. They did add red color in there, so you know it's a red pip, but still it's not that easy to identify. The hearts, even worse, in my opinion. Spades, not that great. I mean, if they made the pips so they actually stood out, and there's your whatever, spades. The other one's clubs, I guess. There's your clubs. If they made the pips so they actually stood out a little bit from the background, it might be better. But since they kind of blend in, it's not so good. They do have a pip in the background in the center as well, but if you get to something like this, again, you can't see the heart in the background very well. They do look pretty cool when you fan them out. You get those borders. This, by the way, is a copy of another deck. What is it? The Emperor? The Empire deck? There's been a couple of decks that have done that before. That is pretty much taking their idea. Half circle on the border. It looks really nice when you spread them out, obviously, and fan them out. Even on the top. That's nice. That's pretty. I like that. But they could have done that without all the extra gunk filling up these cards now. And you spread them out. And I don't mean to be ripping these cards apart or anything like that, but that's just, I review them as I see them. If you don't like it, tough. Spread them out. In my opinion, you can see, it's a 4, it's a queen, it's a jack, but what suit is it? You know, it's hard to tell. You have to look in the other corner. And even that's hard to tell. These cards, oh, by the way, here's a 7. A little bit different. These cards are not practical for poker or any card game. They're not practical for Magic. I'm not even sure that they're practical for forcing the card history. They're just mainly for collecting, for art. That's all you're going to get from. I mean, it is a smooth finish deck. It handles alright. Bicycle stock. But I've already had a little bit of clumping. It's alright right now. It looks pretty cool when you fan them out. That's probably the best thing I could recommend using this deck for. Because they're just... It's too hard to identify a card to use it for Magic. People will be confused. And it's too hard to, again, use it for cards. That's my opinion. You can get these online in different card shops, I believe. I'm not sure which ones exactly. I believe Card Distance website is carddistance.com. I'll put a link in the description. They do have a new project on Kickstarter called the Bicycle Mayhem. It's a blue deck. Or no, it's a red deck, sorry. And I think it's red, or is it blue? I can't recall. But again, lots of detail, but not quite as bad. I think they realized afterwards that these indexes are no good. And the pips aren't that good either, in my opinion. Overall, one of the... I'm not going to say the worst, but definitely the least favorite of my decks, from Kickstarter at least. And one of the least usable decks I've ever seen. That is my review, whether you like it or not. And I'll see you next time.